Hi everybody, I'm Fiona and I want to go drifting. Yes, I want to go again. And again. And again. I want to go drifting. I had so much fun on the first event and I didn't build the Drift Ute just to go once. It's just sometimes everything gets in the way. It's possible, and I say possible with an asterisk, that I hopefully will be able to go drifting at the next drift event, which is now 2 weeks away today. So that gives me today and next weekend to prepare the Drift Ute, and so that's what I'm doing. Drift Ute preparation. So there are a couple of things I have to do if I'm going to be able to go drifting. The first thing I need to do is I need to fix the power steering leak. It should be a relatively simple fix, but that's one thing that I have to do. The second thing I need to do is I need to attach a new gear knob to the gear stick, because when I was using it the first time, it come off, it flew, or I don't know where it went. I think it went out the window. So all I have is just a pointy stick, and we all know that you like to grab a big knob, not a little knob to play with. And so I need a new gear stick knob. And next thing I need to fix is the hydro handle. The mounting I made was, the metal was only 2mm thick, not thick enough. It started bending left and right as much as when I was pulling on it, and because I was pulling it more towards me instead of across, that slowly through the event it just further and over towards the steering wheel until I was basically pushing it, forcing it, bending it back, and so that didn't work out, so I need to redesign that. Also, the master on the hydro, I seem to have stripped out the threads on one of the connections. So I've actually got a new handle, new master and some new lines, plus I need to make a new mounting plate. So that's a whole redo, if you will. So they're the three things I need to fix on the Drift Ute before I can go drifting. There are things I'd like to fix on the Drift Ute if I have time. Also, I noticed after fixing my ramps on my car trailer, when I was towing the trailer back to my place, that the front wheel on the driver's side was shimmering as I was driving along, which generally tells me that the bearings in the axle are gone, and I don't really want to tow the Ute on a car trailer all the way to the other side of town for a drift event. So I also need to remove the wheel hub and check on the bearings on the trailer. So that's 4 things that I must do in order to go drifting in 2 weeks' time. Let's see if we can get that done. Okay, so if we dive into the motor, you can see I've wrapped a rag just around this down here and tied it in a knot. The rag is saturated with fluid, and so I'll pull that off and we'll go from there. Okay, you can see there the joint, it's all wet, obviously leaking, and compare that to this one up here, which is actually under pressure. It's dry as dry, so obviously a bit of a fail on my behalf in putting that one together, but we'll pull it apart and try and reseat it. So I normally have my hair in a ponytail, which might not be highly attractive, but it's practical. But when I'm working under a car, I go one step further and tie it in a bun, because otherwise it just gets caught on everything. And I hate that. Don't you think? Not even tight. Look. It's finger tight. We're gonna Alright, see that's clearly a problem because it's tight but it's still wiggly. So that's not seating properly. I'm gonna have to do a new join, I think. This is a shame. Alright, at least we know. Just while I've got you, I just want to show you this. This is a light stubby impact. So I have a medium impact, which I bought mostly theoretically for doing wheels, but also obviously suspension components and whatnot. But this light stubby impact is unbelievably good. And after a hex driver as a power screwdriver, which is my favourite for all those smaller jobs, when you're working on cars, this stubby impact is the go. Let me show you. I'll just pull off the bits. Pulling off the bits. Oh, that was a tough one. So there you go. It's only small. It's a M12, so it's a 12 volt appliance. It's only short, that's why they call it stubby. This is the 3/8 drive, which is what I think would be the better option, with a 4 amp 12 volt battery. And then usually I find I'm using a fairly short extension just for reach, but when you don't need that, being a stubby impact. But let me show you how powerful this is. If you take a 3/8 drive to 1/2 inch drive adapter, and then just your usual wheel socket, this will rip off a wheel stud without any problem at all. Alright, see, I've just pulled it apart. The flare on the end of that pipe is actually not very flared at all, so to be honest, I'm not surprised that didn't work. Yeah, that's my fault. So I'll re-flare the end of that pipe, and that should fix that leak. What do you know? I think I've got it. No, we'll have to see whether it drips any when I turn the pump on. Alright, so I've got the pump running. We topped it up with fluid. And there's no leaks as yet, so hopefully it's good. I've picked up a gear knob and I threaded, because this one's not threaded, so I really just want to replace that to that. What I might do is just grind down an edge and weld that on at the back. That'll do me. It's just a drift build after all. drift spec. Gear knob welded on with a bolt. That's not going anywhere. Alright, so onto the hydro. Now the issue is that this plate that I've put in is just too thin, and when you can see the whole thing bends. So what I'm thinking of doing is shoring it up with a 5mm plate. Probably leave this in place, but just add to that, and then reposition the master cylinder and then replumb the lines. But time is ticking on, and I'm going to have to leave it there for today. So I'll catch you next week when I finish up what will hopefully become the preparation for my next drift event in 2 weeks' time. We'll see you all next time. Bye.